So next up is a fine man named Matthew Haussler. Matthew, we should talk at the beer break because when I was in second grade, I had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I started a maze-making business in my second grade classroom, which was mostly constituted by a sign that I was very fond of putting on my desk that said, "Yes, we're open" on one side, and you could flip it, and it said, "Sorry, we're closed," which I flipped with great alacrity. Matthew, however, creates artwork for television, print, and performance and exhibits. He is a 2-time Chicago Visual Artist of the Year, but he is best known for his maze art style. Everybody please welcome Matthew.
Good evening, everybody. So I draw mazes, and I do it because I love it, because it's meditative, because it's something that's fun, and never thought it would become a career. But this is one of my books, Chicago Mazes, came out a few years ago. And let me give you kind of an overview of how this happened. So I was working at a bank, and I hated my job. The people were nice, the company was great, I hated my job. So on breaks, I would start doodling, and I hadn't drawn for years, and I was like, you know what? I remember this negative space thing I used to do. I'm going to try that again, where you draw the space around the space. People who are artists will know about that. So that's what I did. And I started thinking, hey, can I make these into something besides negative space, besides like what's around an object? And I started drawing things, and the first thing that came to mind was buildings. I'm like, they're bricks, they're easy. I can make a pattern and a maze, and I can do it. So this is the first art maze I ever created, which is the Colosseum, if you can't tell. From there, people were looking at them and said, hey, these are great. These actually they're solvable? I was like, yeah, they're solvable. And I had a friend's kid who ended up taking one and coloring it, and I was like, wow, that's an idea. So I put some stuff online, and lo and behold, step 1, make mazes. Step 3, profit, right? I'm skipping a lot of heartache here, but then I had a couple books that were published by a company called Mindware, and these are toys meant for kids 8 to 12. And it doesn't bother me that my artwork is considered toys for kids 8 to 12. That's completely fine by me. I started exploring with color as well. In this image, you see that here. This is Cincinnati, where I grew up. The skyline there. I'm actually colorblind partially, enough that this was difficult, and that's why I don't do a lot of coloring. That's also why this looks like it was probably colored by a child as well. So I started thinking, okay, what can I do with this? I'm here in Chicago. I've been here for a while. And I was like, how big can I go? All right, so this is the beginning of a project that was a panoramic view of Chicago. Obviously, you're looking at the Willis Tower there, Sears Tower for the people who've been here long enough. And you're looking across. And what I did is I went nonstop up Lakeshore Drive. This ended up being 73 and a half feet long. One nonstop panorama. It's actually the world record, largest maze in existence right now. And to get the official record, someone has to solve it. So if anyone's got a lot of free time, let me know. This is the unveiling of it. That's a section of it. And that caught some attention. I did that in collaboration with an actress and entrepreneur named Lily Cole out of England. And for her site, it was just there was no money involved. It was just about shared love for art and doing good things for your community. So that caught some news around the world. And then I got contacted out of Seattle, which is what you saw there. Those gentlemen holding these mazes that I drew for an event out there. So last summer I did an installation here at Intelligentsia Coffee downtown, and I put these laser cut acrylic mazes on the wall, and I actually draw at there. That's where I draw all my mazes, and I just watched from a distance. It was really fun because you see kids coming up, right, and then you see adults coming up, and they don't know that I'm watching them, which is probably creepy. I'm a hit at parties, guys. I promise. I've been watching all of you tonight. But this to me is humbling and exciting at the same time, because I watch people in their business suits come in and just start going on there, with their finger. These are like 60, 50-year-old, I'm doing this backwards, men and women who are like taking a break out of the day to draw on a maze. So that's kind of an overview of what I do. I'm just going to show you now some pieces. This is the bean. The reflection in the bean was something, when I first started this, I had no idea how I was going to do it. It just kind of happened. And I'm glad, because I was not going to start over if I didn't. Here's the Daily Center. And again, when you're looking at these, and what I'm hoping to do is for you guys to be like, I didn't know that was a thing. And then for the people out there who draw on that, like, maybe try these. I'm completely okay with the competition, 100% okay with it. Because it's great for the art form. And that's what I'm hoping to show with these images. Here's the L at Washington and Wabash. And, I'm not trained in art traditionally. Music and history and banking is what I did. So this is, again, I'm a hit at parties. And so this is just playing with perspective, like basic things. There's some building downtown that people know about. What I enjoy about this process is that it's meditative for me, and I've developed a lot over the last 5 years that I've been doing this. But what I want to see happen, and what I've seen happen, as my stuff has become more popular, I've had artists from all over the world send me in their work and say, hey, check it out, I'm doing mazes too. And it's all very different. They're very different styles, very different approaches. There's no like cookie cutter how to do this. But it's interesting to see how different people interpret ultimately drawing with negative space. It's almost like sculpting with the page, which is a bit backwards. So this one, we're almost done with the images now. These were all in the Chicago Maze book, which is actually sold out and out of print. Maybe I'll print more one day. Here's a Chinatown maze. The next maze is the one that I absolutely love. It's a part of Chicago now I've fallen in love with, and it's about as mundane as you can get for most people. But Merchandise Mart, drawing this was just the most amazing experience in that book. Merchandise Mart is kind of a boring building to look at. It's cool, it's big, right? But if you're not like into the line work and that, and I didn't know it was that fun until I drew it. I'm like, man, this building has character. It has, and where it sits on the water, it's great. So one last image from the books. This is actually from the kids' books, right? But this is the last maze I did. It's the cover of my 4th book, which just came out. And this is from, if you remember back to that Coliseum I showed at the beginning, right? This is where it's developed. This is where I've taken it so far. And I know there are better artists out there that can do this as well. So I'd love to see them try their hand at it. I'd love to see what they develop, what comes out of it. Because for me, the important thing is not getting more book contracts, getting that, I have 3 more books coming out this year. Chicago Maze has just funded another issue a couple weeks ago. But what I really want to see is other artists see this, get inspired by it, and just show me what they can come up with. So thank you guys for your time. Thank you for checking out Maze Art.